Okay, hope you're all doing well. I realize that my go-to is what is up. So, what is up, guys? Hope you guys are doing well. I'm gonna stick with that. Today, very cloudy day. It's quite chilled. It's a Thursday for me. I know these things haven't really been coming out daily, and it's just there's been a lot going on. Just in terms of life. My ankle just got very bad very quickly. I don't think I slept. I think I mentioned it. So went to bios, it's like a structural doctor, and then yesterday I went to an actual doctor. So I had to get blood tests and everything done, just to see narrow down the issue. If the issue is what we think it is, then very easy. Ironically, the easiest situation is that I just get gout. And I'm like, I don't want gout. But I'm sitting here going, that's the most treatable out of everything. And it's the easiest to fix. But yeah. What upsets me is that I've actually put time and effort into eating better and stuff like that. Like I think I said, I've lost since the beginning of the year 5 kilos, but since middle of last year 10, we'll call it 12, because I was 112 and I got to a 99, 98, and then yeah, now I'm just cruising there. Like, I think my goal will be to get back to a 90, and then if I can get back to my best, which was an 85, which is ironically how much I weighed in high school. But yeah, I did it before. I think I can do it again. It's just the ability to move that's kind of been making me a bit depressed lately, and being put off of everything, because I'm just sitting here going like, it's so. And this is my thing with a lot of different people who choose not to move. I'm like, it's so liberating just being able to walk around, to run around, to go do stuff with people that are in the same industry that I'm in, and we can relate that to church as well. That's how we should be feeling, and it just helps, like, for me, because even with my partner, she loves doing all these fitness things, and I just sit there and go, I'd love to do those things with you, or I'd like to be there in a supportive way, which I have every capability of doing, because I used to be like that myself. Sure, I probably won't be the best at it now, but I know that all it requires first is effort and then time, and if I can give that to her in that sense, then it will benefit both of us in the long course. So we'll see how this goes, but that's why I said, if it means that I have to, I don't know, take permanent tablets, chronic tablets, I'm just gonna take it. He did say though, if it is like gout, it is very severe, and it's very like, I should have been dealing with it. I should have dealt with this years ago, but yeah, unfortunately, you listen to friends, you listen to other people, and they end up just pushing you the wrong way. I do understand that it's entirely my decision, so I should have been a bit better. It took me using both my medical aid limits to figure this out. And medical aid, let's not get started on medical aid. But anyway, let's get going into what we're going to read. So today we've got Genesis 19:15 to 29. I've realized the first bunch of stuff is just Genesis. It's such a long book. The nice thing about it, I'm seeing with Genesis, is it's raw stories, man. It's just stories that are of people doing right by God, and people being rewarded by God for listening what they've done. Sure, there are stories where people have done wrong and they are dealt with accordingly, and that's where I think the nice part about what we're doing right now, and the nice part about reading it from start to finish, is giving us, is that you can see that God is a just God. You can see God He can reward you. He can give you all these things that these guys ended up getting. Nothing was off the table, but then simultaneously, if you do wrong by what He commands, and if you do things that are against God, He can take everything away, man. And that's what we talk about God-fearing and stuff like that, is I don't think people, and even me, I always say to a degree, because I always see God as this, how do I say it? Just this being that he does all this good, and he helps all these people. He does this. He you pray for things. He gives you guidance. Helps you with your work. He can help you with your physical. He can help you with your situations. He can line things up where you don't think can be lined as themselves. I mean, here he moved somebody, and that moving created a whole country essentially. It was the start of so many biblical things that happened in that area, just as much as, I don't know, obviously creation of the earth, everything that we see, everything that we know just comes from that. And for me, when you hear all the good, you do forget that, like, there is stuff that can go bad should you not follow it. And obviously Adam and Eve is the first example we get. Cain and Abel, next example. I mean, we're going to probably read about a couple more stories here of people who didn't believe in God, and that's essentially why people from God, who followed God, who did what he commanded, ended up getting from them. And that's why, just for me, it's just tough to link somebody or something so powerful and so willing to do good that he can also, or she can also, like, take it away and stuff. And my TV's loud. Hopefully you can't hear it, but it's just playing stuff in the background. We do it for the cats. It's weird. Don't know if you guys do it. If you do, let me know. But, like, for us, I feel like the cats need to hear stuff. I don't do it all the time. Like, if I'm here, I'm going to be in the office the whole day. I'm not like, I'll leave this room for maybe a water, maybe lunch, but I've got there's like 3 columns that need to be completed here, and I'm only halfway through the first, so need to get everything done. But then today, Genesis 19:15-29. So we're going to focus on, let me just get to it, Sodom and Gomorrah destroyed. So we're missing the first part. I essentially think that's just an introduction, and then we're going to go into what's going to happen now. And if you want to read along. The text now pops up on screen. If you want to just listen to me read. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. It's a Russian roulette. So let's get going. So, at the dawn of the next morning, the angels became insistent. "Hurry," they said to Lot. "Take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here. Get out right now, or you'll be swept away in the destruction of the city." When Lot still hesitated, the angel seized his hand and the hands of his wife and 2 daughters and rushed them to safety outside the city, for the Lord was merciful. When they were safely out of the city, one of the angels ordered, "Run for your lives and don't look back or stop anywhere in the valley. Escape to the mountains or you will be swept away." "Oh, my Lord," Lot begged, "you have been so gracious to me and saved my life, and you have shown such great kindness, but I cannot go to the mountains. Disaster would catch up to me there, and I would soon die. See, there's a small village nearby. Please let me go there instead. Don't you see how small it is? Then my life will be saved." "All right," the angel said. "I'll grant you your request. I will not destroy the little village, but hurry, escape to it, for I can do nothing until you arrive there." This explains why that village was known as Zor, which means little place. Lot reached the village just as the sun was rising over the horizon. Then the Lord rained down fire and burning sulfur from the sky. Sodom and Gomorrah, is that the right way? He utterly destroyed them, along with all the other cities and villages of the plain, wiping out all the people and every bit of vegetation. But Lot's wife looked back as she was following behind him, and she turned into a pillar of salt. Abram got up that morning and hurried out to the place where he had stood in the Lord's presence. He looked across the plain toward Sodom and Gomorrah and watched as columns of smoke rose from the cities, like smoke from a furnace. But God had listened to Abraham's request and kept Lot safe, removing him from disaster that engulfed the cities on the plain. So that's interesting. Yeah, literally, it's ironic, eh? We just spoke about. I promise you, I think I've gone further than this in the before readings, but like that was in, I think it was in January. I completely forgot what we've read in that kind of stuff. But as we're talking about God being this guy, this thing, or thing is not the right way to say it. This being, this God that can grant so much, and here's an example of why there needs to be fear, because He can take everything as well. And yeah, that's the story. Just sums it up. Is that if God wants to, everything can go. And He has made covenants to not flood the world, to not, I don't know, to do a couple other things. We've still got, let me just put that on. We've still got that much to read, so we do have time to see what else He promises and what else. Like I say, I'm not someone who's read everything. I remember when I was in, when I did this long ago, I think it was 17, 18. I'm turning 29 on Friday next week. But I read these things. I read Psalms, and then a bit of John, I think a bit of Luke. Like the way that thing worked is, and it was very cool in the sense of you read a psalm and then you read a story. And Psalms are cool because there are people being really open and honest with God. And if you're ever struggling with just how you're feeling, you don't know how to word things, and you just feel that you don't know how to speak to God, I think Psalms is a good way to go to understanding that a bit better. I think what I learned from it so often, and I always had questions about it because I never understood like how to speak to God, especially at a younger age. I know it's a thing that teens would struggle with and stuff like that, because they are either getting introduced to reading the Bible, having a relationship with God, or B, some of them just don't know how to talk to other people or have conversations with things that they cannot see. And it's, for me, that helped a lot, because you're seeing people be absolutely truthful, absolutely honest, and being raw with God. They're not only asking for things to help them, but they're asking for God to do things that we would say is not very nice, not very God-like. Some of us would argue, but it shows that these people went through different emotions, and they went through different struggles in their brains, and going, they don't know how to deal with this, or they don't know what to do here. God, just help me, or God, why do you help these people that are this and that, and you're letting these people suffer? These are the things that I know that I used to struggle with as a teenager. And I just think that people, the Psalms is a good way just to help you understand that you be authentic. If you're going to speak to God, don't be this master word person, a rap, like you're rapping a song, like you're a lyricist, you're doing all these like words that you don't entirely know what it means, but you know that someone else used them and it sounded really cool. Be who you are. God knows who you are. God knows the intention of your heart, and sometimes the raw emotion and the raw words, I feel, makes it so much better and so much more personal. And like we said, God knows what you want to say already. So why mask it by saying things that you don't truly understand, or saying things that sound better than what they are? Like for me, I'm very straightforward. I'm a straightforward person. Tell me what you need down. Give me the points. Give me your 2-3 points. Once you give me those 2-3 points, cool. Let's work on it. Let's go for it. Now I know exactly what you want, what you expect from me, and I can give that to you, and this is what I expect in return. That's how I operate. It's how I was raised to operate, and it's how I operate in my business. It's how I operate in everything else. So then let's go into the messages. So 19, 16 to 29. It's just one. Hectic. No, we've got a few. We've got two. Notice how God's mercy toward Abraham extended to Lot and his family. Because Abraham had pleaded for Lot, God was merciful and saved Lot from the fiery destruction of Sodom. A righteous person can often affect others for good. James says that the earnest prayer of a righteous person has great power and produces wonderful results. James 5 verse 16. All Christians should follow Abraham's example and never give up on praying for those who need to be saved. That's I don't know, that kind of hits. Okay, so that kind of hits home. So I don't know how it is for you, but yeah, I think a lot of us, I know me, we tend to give up because we just don't think, I don't know, prayers are going to work, our prayers are worth it. Like, it's easy to get into this rut of just going, well, it doesn't matter if I pray because God's already decided what will happen. And I do it all the time. That's why it's kind of like, just breathe. Because you sit and you go like, what happens if you were consistent? What happens if, like what I try to do, you guys are probably the same. You try to be better. You're trying to be reflective. I mean, I do try and apply a lot of what we learn here into my personal life, and I can see it coming slowly. But yeah, you sit and you kind of go like, would someone like you, someone like me, if we continued praying, would God actually do what we say? Are we in that footing with Him? Do we come across as righteous enough? I know we don't come across as perfect, and that's why one thing you'll never ever hear me say, unless I'm winding you up. That's one thing I always say, it's not me, I'm perfect. But other than that, me winding people up, and they know exactly when I do it, because like my girlfriend says, I've got jokes that run on repeat. So like, you can say a couple things and you know what your response will be from me if it requires the humor. But but in every situation, even at work, I think we had a complaint about certain things not being packed away and stuff like that, and I was like, sure, I'm sorry about that, but like, I do it for everyone else, and this time I slipped up and I didn't go, always pack things away and things like that, because I didn't pack it away then. So who am I to say now I do it all the time if I didn't do it then? And I even explained to him, 90% of the time everything is packed away. This is the first time you've complained to me in over a year, so. But then it was a bad day for the person, and that's why they got very personal and they got very attacking. And that's the thing. At the end of the day, remember what I tell you is, you can be a result of what other people do to you, even if it's in a negative manner, or like what we read here, you can be a beam of light, you can be a reflection of God, and you can cut it off right in front of you. Because it's so easy for someone to or boss to get personal, or get attacking, or say you X, Y, and Z, and it sucks, it hurts, it's this, it's that. Like, it makes you angry, it makes you feel like I don't feel appreciated yet, like what the hell's wrong with you? And you can easily pass that down to the next person who doesn't do something the way you wanted, or something didn't work the way that you wanted with them, and now you're getting frustrated, and you can pass that anger down. Or you can cut it right where it got to. So it got to you, you cut it off there, you accept whatever happens, and then you move on to another situation. And people always, and I deal with this so often, is people go, oh no, you're soft, or oh no, you must fight more, you must argue with these people. And sometimes it's just like, at the end of the day, like, they're going through something, let them go through it. It's not my business, whatever they go through. And if I do what they do to me, how am I better than them? How am I representing God in a way that's gonna better the cause, make people go, yo, okay, this guy's actually, you know what, he's being such a good representative. Why don't we actually do stuff like that? You can't do that if you're gonna copy what everyone else does. And it's the same thing with tit for tat. I think I've had a couple arguments with people in recent weeks because they go, oh no, I'm gonna give everyone the effort that they give me. And that's I can see the argument for it and I see the fairness in it, but unfortunately, if you're going to follow the Bible, not everything is going to go fair in your direction. There's a lot of give and take. And sometimes it's a lot of give, but you're not taking. Just like there will be times when there's a lot of taking and not giving. And we need to understand that. Is that, sure, like, this person doesn't invite me out, or this person doesn't do this person doesn't do that. I'm not going to do that to them because like they don't appreciate me, why should I appreciate them? And then you sit and you just sit back and you go, well, maybe that's just, it's a different group of people. That's what I sat down and I realized is that I've a lot of friends. I'm friends with quite a few older people, and usually, especially with work, those guys will go out and they'll, I don't know, get a meal, and they don't necessarily invite me directly, which is what we all want to be, let's be honest. But so we sit and we can, like, I went through it where I was like, I'm not inviting these guys out. My birthday's on Friday, stuff with my language, stuff all of them, like, it's not going to work. I'm going to purposely do this to hurt them. But then we go back into what we said earlier, where is that godlike? Are you reflecting God? You're showing hatred and it's speaking more on your character than theirs. I can tell you right now that they don't sit and think about, oh no, he must hate us for this and stuff like that. Or, oh no, let's not invite him again. And like, it's not, they don't think that way. And if I'm going to think that way, it makes me look bad and makes them just who they are. So not everything needs to be like tit for tat. We learned that growing up as kids, my sister and I. Not everything was going to be equal when we grew up. Parents made it very clear, made it very abundantly clear that there are times where my sister would do well or get something, and I just had to sit. I didn't do well. I'm not getting rewarded because I didn't do well. Like, if my sister pursued something and did well, and she got the rewards for it, I would definitely had a mom that would always go, no, shame, but what about him? But at the same time, we always understood that, like, it's one of those things where sometimes the one gets blessed and the other needs to sit back and learn a lesson. And sometimes the other gets blessed and the other one sits back and learns a lesson. And it doesn't make you bad parents, it doesn't make you bad people. It just makes you raising kids that are becoming understanding of what the world is going to be for them. So yeah, Lot hesitated, so the angel seized his hand and rushed him to safety. Lot did not want to abandon the wealth, position, and comfort he enjoyed in Sodom. It is easy to criticize Lot for being hypnotized by Sodom when the choices seem clear to us. But to be wiser than Lot, we must see that our hesitation to follow may stem from the false attractions of our culture's pleasures. When God takes you by the hand and His leading is crystal clear, don't hesitate. So, very interesting. Okay, so as you can see, I think a lot of the time, this is case in point with a lot of things, guys, is that we don't want to do what God says because we're sacrificing a lot of what we have. I think my resignation was key for me. I was chasing a full-time job for years. In South Africa, it takes forever to get a full-time job. I have 4 different levels of qualification. I've been working since 16, and for me, I come from a family that always worked in some sort of corporate and some sort of environment where salary was guaranteed and you knew what you were getting every month, and therefore you had to put in the same every month. And I'm someone who doesn't think that way. I've definitely learned from business owners. I've spent my life around building businesses, working with people who are starting businesses, and that's where my passion lies. Even when it comes to my business work, I'm always sitting and I want to be with the ground level people. I don't want to be in high end, I don't want to be in corporate. I think I learned that on the job itself. But so there's my cat. We're gonna see what happens there. But yeah, too often do we use the things that we've aimed for and achieved, and this actually goes back 2 days ago when we spoke about what do we use to represent our identity and how it takes over us. And literally, like you see here, Lot had power, he had influence. What else did he have? He had cultural pleasures, wealth, and a lot of the time it's just tough to give that up. People don't want to give that up because they've worked so hard to do that, get that. And like it says here, in hindsight, and we're always reading everything in hindsight, so you sit and you go, how did these people make these decisions? Why don't they just listen? But I can tell you right now, if there was a book written about your life, you'd probably have readers be going, why didn't you just listen? Why didn't you listen to God? Shame she's moaning. I'm going to finish this off now and then we can get going. Okay. In the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, we see two facets of God's character. His great patience, agreeing to spare a wicked city for 10 righteous people, and his fierce anger, destroying both cities. As we grow spiritually, we should find ourselves developing not only a deeper respect for God, because his anger towards sin, but also a deeper love for God, of his patience when we sin. Case in point is just the world we live in. Like I sit right now and I go, you know what, God could have destroyed us long ago. I think a lot of us would probably have gone, you should have destroyed everything long ago, because the way the world is, like I say it all the time, there's so many negative things happening, but then at the same time there's so many positive things, and there's so many beautiful things that happen. I love just sitting and just seeing the good that people can do for one another. And I said it before, I'll say it again, is the best and worst things that have happened on this earth is because of man. And yeah, I'd like to stray away from the negative, but I think we have to acknowledge the negative to understand where we're at as people. And I know even with media, and social media is the main one for me, it's just flooded with the negativity, and you never end up, you find yourself in ruts sometimes. So yeah, then Lot's wife turned back to look at the smoldering of the city of Sodom. Clinging to the past, she was unwilling to turn completely away. Are you looking back longingly at sinful pleasures and relationships while trying to move forward with God? You can't make progress with God as long as you are holding on to pieces of your old life. Jesus said it this way in Matthew 6 verse 24. No one can serve two masters. So I think that's probably our best way to end this, is that I know for me, sometimes things pop up when it comes to a work life, when it comes to a relationship life. You sit and you look back, and I used to do it when I was single. Very often I'd be like, I wish all I had to do was stay with that person and look at the person I would have been with today if it worked out that way. And that used to be me when I was single, and you sit and you go, yeah, but things wouldn't have been, I don't think I'd be where I am today. And it's tough to not look at past actions and think, maybe if you did them slightly differently, where would you end up? But also, I think it's important to acknowledge that those actions led to you to where you were today, and you now have this choice of, are you going to follow God, or are you going to continue and sit where you are? Knowing the knowledge that you have now, do you push forward, which God has now set you up for, or do you just sit back and continue to do what you were doing before? Because now that you know that looking back and just sitting and relishing in your old life wasn't right, are you going to serve that master, or are you going to serve the one that now you can acknowledge has spoken to you? And it's not me, but the one that you can acknowledge that now you're able to take a step forward, that you wouldn't be in the position that you are today if it wasn't for those decisions. So yeah, we are very lucky in the sense of you learn these things, and knowledge is power. And definitely sometimes there's knowledge that you sit and that's my problem, is that now that I've sat and read that, now it's going to sit with me for a while. Every time I think of the past, I'm going to be like, but I wouldn't be where I am today. And sure, it's got its negatives, but it's also got its positives. And that's what you need to focus on. Focus on the positives for now. Focus on what God has asked you to do. Like we saw in the story of Noah. Do your part of the word. Let God worry about everything else. Once you can do your part, that's all that's required. The promise, the rewards, anything, the sacrifice, everything becomes worth it, even if we don't see it in the near future. So yeah, I just want to say thanks for listening. Guys, it was a longer one. But I hope you have a good day. I wish the best on you guys. And yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. If you have any theories or opinions, let me know. And like I always say, I don't know everything. I'm not a registered pastor, but I always help you where I see fit and where I think what lessons I have had in my life to help you out. Don't make the same mistakes I made. That's what I always like saying. Have a good day.